Here we are. Hello, hello everyone. Here we are to talk about this juicy live. The title of today's live is Why Don't You Orgasm? So it's very, very interesting. I'm gonna wait for you to come, for you to come to this live. So, welcome everyone. I'm at the same time live on various channels on YouTube, Maya Vassallo di Florio International, on Instagram, Maya Vassallo di Florio Sacred Sex. So let me know as you connect. Where are you connecting from? Because maybe it's nice for you all to know that maybe there are people nearby you that follow sacred sexuality and Aphrodisiac philosophy and spirituality. So ready for this live? Why don't you orgasm? Are you curious about it? First, before starting, I would like you to know that female orgasm is something that you really would like to know more about. Whether you, if you are a woman and you want to know more about your own orgasm and how it works, and you want to do more exploration in your couple intimacy with your partner, but also you will be interested in female orgasm even more if you are a woman that helps other women. So maybe you are a priestess or a yoga teacher or a psychologist, a gynecologist, a doctor. I have many of my students that are doctors and gynecologists, obstetricians that started training with me to know more about what I am talking about today. So Aphrodisiac method and yoni egg and yoni wand and anal wand method to unleash your sensuality and sexuality and improve your orgasms. So first of all, I would like to tell you, maybe some of you understood it, that finally, after a long waiting, the doors are opened, the enrollments are opened for Sacred Sex Coach teacher training, which is sex coach training is the only training all over the world that teaches you how to become a sex coach specialized in yoni eggs, yoni wands, and anal wands, which are these amazing natural crystals which you can use for your own pleasure and as tools to heal your inner tissues of your vagina and improve your sexuality alone and in a couple. And the training prepares you to help other women to improve their sexual life. And this is an empowering training, the best and only one in the world to prepare you in such a profound way. So today we will talk about one of the themes of sex coach training, which is the also the orgasm gap. The majority all over the world, indeed, we registered a gap, a difference of accessibility to orgasm between women and men. And this is not a biological construct, as I will explain in a while, but it's a cultural problem. So the reason why orgasm is less accessible to women than men is mainly cultural. And I'm going to explain you why in a moment. So stay tuned because you really want to know more about female orgasm. And I'm going to give you some practices to do during this live that you can start practicing during these days, even today, on your own and with your partner, maybe. And also at the end of this live, I will give you a surprise. So stay tuned till the end, follow till the end. So, as I said, The number of women that today have difficulty in reaching orgasm is incredible. I have hundreds and hundreds of women, and I facilitated trainings and private coaching for them all over Italy and all over the world. And they have in common the same things, independently of age, independently of culture. They have all in common this experience of difficulty of reaching orgasm, because they write to me or they refer to me sentences like, I can come alone, I can orgasm alone, but I cannot orgasm when I am with my partner. Interesting. Or they say, I think only about pleasing my partner when we have sex. The only priority for me is pleasing him, and I am only attentive to his needs, and I am not concentrated, so centered in my own pleasure, totally detached from my own pleasure. Or they tell me, I feel frustrated because he cannot get what I really like, and I'm not able to explain him. Or this is very rare. I'm going to explain you why. Or they really don't feel and experience this match between their desires and needs in sex life and what their partners, long-term partners or occasional partners, offer them. Does it resonate with you? Have you experienced yourself having challenges in reaching orgasm with your partner or with other partners in the past? Or do you listen to your clients? Maybe if you are a coach for women, did you listen to your clients telling you that you have challenges, that they have challenges in reaching the climax in sexual intercourse? Let me know if it resonates with you. The sad thing here is that the majority of women are really convinced that the reason why they don't orgasm is only their fault. They are really convinced by that. They think that there is some sort of dysfunction, or that they are not, their body is numb, or all sort of things, of worse things. Of course, they tend to put the blame on them. Dysfunction exists, of course, but in the majority of cases, in my experience as a secret sexuality priestess and a sex coach, the reason of the orgasm gap, so the difference of reaching orgasm between women and men, is it's merely a cultural reason. It's not a biological reason. And it's due to the difference of sexual education between women and men. The majority don't even receive a sexual education. I'm going to come to this in a moment. And the few sexual education they receive is very different. The narrations of how women and men should experience sexuality in our society is very, very different. And this is the reason of the orgasm gap between women and men. And in general, women and men have very poor and distorted emotional and sexual education. Because yes, sex has to do with emotions. Those who tell you that sex is disconnected from feelings and emotions, they're lying you. It's bullshit. Of course, it doesn't mean you have to do sex only with the man of your life. I'm not telling that. You can also have a beautiful night, just one night, and then choosing not to continue the experience. But it's about making love. And so this is the main difference. The idea of making love or making sex. I'm going to explain more during the live. So the sexual modality that most men and even women know when we talk about sex is the education people receive from pornography. magazines or all sorts of means of communication that narrate sex as something that it's merely mechanical, and it's not just narrated from from a manly point of view, because in the pornography you see things that for the majority of cases only men like, and it's not even true. It's not even true. It's not men's perspective, what you see in the pornography, in the porno movies. It's patriarchal perspective. It's a kind of sex that it's totally detached from the meeting of the souls. So this is not healthy, sacred sexuality, and this is not really pleasurable. This actually prevents the ecstasy, the greatest outrageous pleasure and orgasms that you can experience if you only dare to go deep into emotional and feeling relationship and soul relationship with the other person. So putting sex on a level of just physical exercise or genital pleasure and not a full body pleasure and not a soul pleasure, or a pleasure that involves all the bodies, which I mean physical body, genital parts, physical body, emotional body, spiritual body, energetical body, you will just experience a little crumble of the pleasure that it's available to you. Believe me, many of my students, when at the beginning of the training I was talking to you about, sex coach training, they start with the very first exercises I transmit them, with the very first practices. They refer to me that their sexual energy starts moving throughout the body and they feel more energized. And from the very first lesson with me, they start experiencing the best orgasms of their lives. So this must be something that all women and also men should know, because really there is no reason why women and men should have this gap in reaching orgasm, and this lack of communication and lack of satisfaction. And also those who reach orgasm, I want them to know that it's just a little crumble. There is a whole new world to know. So this relying only on pornography to learn about sex, it's very disruptive for personal pleasure and for couple intimacy, because this is a distorted vision that teaches, that educates women and men to be more and more distant, because the patriarchal narration of sex tells men you have to do sex like this, mechanical, genital, without love. So don't confuse sex with love. Which of course it's partially true, because it doesn't mean that if you make love to a person or with a person, you choose to love a person and to start a relationship with that person. This is already separated, but it's different making sex and it's a genital practice as a mechanicistic practice, or making love, crafting love, and experiencing sex as the ars amandi, which in Latin means the art of making love. So it's up to you, your choice. If you want to experience sex and orgasm, it's something that really blows your mind and skyrockets you to the maximum pleasure, to the stars, or just be satisfied with genital orgasm. Or not even that for women, because as I said, the title of today's life is why don't you reach orgasm? Because yes, women have lots of difficulty in reaching orgasm because of that culture, not because they have some sort of dysfunction, but because men are taught by pornography to make love without tenderness, as a gymnastic exercise, as a proof of their virility. And women are educated, on the other hand, to prioritize the feelings. So only if you are madly in love with somebody, you have to romanticize sexuality necessarily, which is different from sacralize sexuality. They are two different things. So making sexuality sacred is um, experiencing sex, even if just for one night out with a man, just one night, but experiencing it as a prayer, as a devotional act that transcends you too, and is an offering to life, to divinity, and to your inner divinity, and the other person inner divinity, is different from romanticizing it and saying, oh, okay, this is the man of my life, the love of my life. We've made love so beautifully, or we've made love and we have to spend the rest of our lives together. No, there are two different things. And women are educated to romanticize sexuality, to please the man, to prioritize the man's pleasure. How does it resonate with you? They are educated since the very first moment of their lives to please men, to be not just people pleasers, but especially men pleasers. And the pornography, if a woman sees a pornographic movie, all they will learn is not being in contact with their real pleasure. No, it's just pleasing the man. Because I assure you that no woman would like that approach to sex. No woman is done and ready. So you enter the room, the technician of the lights enters the room, and they start having sex wildly, and the woman is really lubricated and screams to the winds like if she's enjoying the most intense experiencing in her vagina and in her whole body. This is bullshit. And seeing porno movies separates women from their real perception of the body, because they see that and they tend to imitate that, because the power of images is very strong. And so they start lying to themselves and to the partner, because they say, oh, if I don't like it, there's something wrong with me. Look at this woman, she is screaming for pleasure for that things that I've never liked, but maybe I'm wrong, they think. And also men are used to that, and they really believe that women like those approaches to sex. Well, that's not true. Moreover, it's continuous gaslighting in women and men's eyes, continuous confusing them about what women really like in bed, and continuous in expanding of incommunicability between women and men in the bed, in sex. And this is terrible. This is not what really women want. And the distance, the emotional distance, becomes wider and wider. Moreover, the pornography, with its attitude to zoom on the particular of the genitals, detaches the person who sees the porno movie from the awareness that the woman is not just a vagina. She's the whole package, with all her feelings, with all her emotions, with all her culture, with all her interesting worlds. But the pornography has done lots of damages, my dear ones, my beloveds. And also the rhythms of pornography are totally fake, totally fake. And it has been scientifically proven that people who start watching porno movies, they start becoming dependent on them, because it's a hormonal dependence that they are encouraging. Of course, they gain on that. So the producers of porno movies, they want that. They want men and women to see more and more of that. And this is a total detachment from emotions and feelings. and from the real perceptions of the body. I want to tell you that if you read the real statistics and interviews to porno actresses and actors, they are all under anti-pain, painkillers, and antidepressants, because they have to numb their bodies in order to have those performances. They feel no pleasure at all. It's all faking and acting. So please, let's set porno movies to the side and let's learn really what's real, healthy, juicy sexuality that gives you real outrageous pleasure. Because one of the reasons why women reach orgasms less than men, or less intensively than men, or they don't reach orgasms at all, especially maybe they can reach orgasm when they are with themselves but not with a partner. It's also because of the damages done by pornography. So the result of this is an incredible level of pressure on women, because they feel they have to have sex with men. They have to have sex. They have to please men through their bodies, even if they don't like it at all. They have to lie. They learn to lie to themselves, to their bodies. And that's why many women don't want to have sex. Because of that, because of these lack of communication, because of the damages done by pornography, because of this patriarchal vision of sexuality. But I want to tell you a completely different story, completely different way of making love, which is the one I teach in sex coach training, which I'm launching today. For those who are just connecting now, I want to remind you that sex coach training is the only one in the world that teaches you how to master the use of yoni X, yoni wands, and anal wands. That are these tools, natural crystal tools that can be used for working on a psychosomatic level deeply on your tissues to unleash your pleasure and augment your vital sexual energy for the benefit of yourself, of the couple. And if you work in the field of helping as a helping profession, you can do it as a work helping other women in an ever increasing market, because more and more women, luckily, they are starting demanding for sex coaches. So you can help other women with this training. So I'm talking about that today. So this distortion with orgasms, this race to run and reach the orgasm, that it's another myth that anytime we have sex, we have to reach the orgasm, and also especially he has to reach the orgasm, otherwise it's not good sex. Bullshit. Bullshit. Has made other damages, because it has created the distortion in women's life that they have to deserve love. And sometimes they can even be rewarded by a little bit of pleasure, but I assure you, it's just a hint of the whole specter of kinds and intensities of pleasure you can experience in orgasm and sexuality, believe me. So the woman is convinced in this way that she has to deserve to be loved. But no, every woman has the birthright to be loved, should be loved as a birthright, and she doesn't have to deserve anything. Just because she is alive, she deserves to be loved, while she will enact all a series of behaviors to please the man and to be the good one, in order not to be abandoned. Because in our society, we women are convinced, even if we've done lots of steps in women empowerment, the majority of women is convinced that their survival depends on men choosing them. So they don't have to be abandoned by a man. Oh my goodness, if they are abandoned, their life is over. So that depends whether if they are abandoned or not, and they will survive or not. It will depend on their beauty and their skills and availability in sex. So this is, as you can imagine, terrible, and creates so much detachment from what women feel and really desire and what they pretend, and a distance in the couple. So if there is not real intimacy, how can sexual intimacy in a couple be good? It's impossible unless you listen to this. So what I promote is an integrated approach for couples in approaching their sexual problems, because it's their sexual problem. It's not a woman problem, especially if she can orgasm when she's alone and she cannot when she has a partner. So I want to remark this, to highlight this. So please repeat it with me. Tattoo it in your mind. It's not just an individual or woman's problem. It's not just a couple's problem. It's a social issue because of the reasons I told you a moment ago. So it's a social issue. It's also a social issue if women and men have different experiences of orgasms, and if there is an orgasm gap. So what I do in my work is starting from women and working on their personal sexual revolution and female empowerment to ignite their fires and be contagious and become a social revolution through that sexual female empowerment. So this is for you, whether you want to know more about sacred sexuality and outrageous pleasure and mind-blowing orgasms, whether if you want to do it for yourself, for your couple, or you want to help other women and to do it as a helping profession. But it's important to consider everything when you experience this problem, or when you approach a woman that brings you this problem, telling you she cannot orgasm. So all of these convictions I've said so far have a grip on women's minds and bodies, because all these convictions are based on fear, which is the opposite of pleasure and love. Because pleasure and love, they help you open, they expand the body and your capacity also in your nervous system. While fear numbs you. Fear does three things: makes you fight, makes you flight, so run away, or makes you freeze. In any case, it's an emotion, the fear, that makes your body contract, especially, listen carefully to this, your hips and your pelvic floor and the muscles of your yoni. So when you feel fear, you will contract everything, and your pleasure cannot go through you. You cannot experience pleasure if you are afraid. Okay, so we feel the fear contracts our hips, because in the hips there are the hip tensors that are the ones who activate when we experience fear, and activates the responses of the body, or of flight, fight, and freeze. And when we are afraid, our body is contracted and we cannot be relaxed and opened to pleasure. It's impossible. Okay. So it's important to relax the pelvic floor and remove this fear in order to experience orgasms alone in the couple, or experience more powerful orgasms, because you deserve that. You deserve. Mm. So, one of the solutions I propose in the sex coach training, which is this training that in which I teach you through the use of yoni eggs and yoni ones and anal ones, and with my method that I created, which has been quoted also by the best universities of the world because the results are great. What I teach is also a change of mindset. So, removing all the damages that pornography did, that are damages that block the orgasm. And also in explaining women that we are not robots. We don't work all the same. So the pornography model is unrealistic, first of all. It's fake, totally fake. As I said, nothing of that is true. So please, remind that, share this live with other women and especially men, because they have to know that pornography is not the healthy and pleasurable sexuality. There is a way more outrageous pleasure that you can experience in sex if you abandon the pornography and start walking Aphrodite's path of sacred sexuality. Believe me, there is an incredible amount of pleasure available to you if you just listen to this, and you deserve it. So we are not robots. We don't work all the same. We are different forms of the yoni, different neural pathways of pleasure, different connection between mind and yoni, and body and mind, different ideas of pleasure, different tastes in sex, different ways we like sex. And there are different lingams and different men out there. So the combinations are infinite. So there is not just one way of having sex. And that of pornography, it's just terrible. Believe me. Sex indeed should be communication. It's a dance. It's not performance. It's not proving of men's virility or the woman's ability to keep their man. None of that. It's communication between bodies and souls. It's making love. It's an art, if you want to be it to be like that. If you dare, it can be way more pleasurable. Communication derives from Latin, and the word muni inside communication means gift. So sex is a communication, is a gift of each other. So it's becoming one thing. It's a fusion without confusion. So in sex coach training, I teach a completely different way of making love from those the majority of women and men have always been used to. Because there are different ways of making love. Yes, there are different orgasms, different kinds of orgasms. So different kinds of orgasms in terms of intensity and depth and expansion of awareness and consciousness. The majority of population just know the first level orgasm. The orgasm, which for women translates with the clitoral orgasm. It's beautiful, nothing wrong about it, but it's a kind of orgasm that brings the energy outside. So the majority of times you feel depleted, you feel very tired and maybe emotional, maybe you don't want to have more sex after the clitoral orgasm because it's very strong, it's electric, it's like an electric shock, is very strong, and then soon after you don't want to be touched anymore. While in sex coach training, if you want to join us and the amazing women that from all over the world started doing this training with great success, you will know that there are different orgasms that are way more powerful and intense, multiple orgasms, more outrageous pleasure, and you will learn how to experience the techniques and the practices that I teach and the method that I teach that will lead you gradually to this orgasm. Gradually, it's important, the term gradually, and I want to highlight it because we have to educate our nervous system and our body to expand our capacity to hold more pleasure. One of the questions I ask to my students is, how much pleasure can you stand? Remember the thing of the hips that I said. If we don't work on the inner tissues and do a serious psychosomatic work guided by a competent person, we cannot really experience those kinds of orgasms because we have to educate our body to be capable of holding it, removing all the sexual and energetical blocks in our body. And this is possible. This is possible. So in a moment, I will share you the link to know more about sex coach training, the only training in the world to become a sex coach specialized in yoni eggs, yoni wands, and anal wands. And you can read all the feedbacks of my students from all over the world. And the results they have reached is incredible, both for themselves and for their clients. I'm so proud of them. They became excellent sex coaches. So working on our capacity to hold more pleasure in the body, educating our body to through the change of mindset and the spiritual changes, to hold more pleasure in the body, you will experience deeper orgasms, more intense orgasms that will blow your mind, and different qualities of orgasms, different levels of orgasms. This will lead you, since our sexual energy is our vital energy, this will lead you to augment your energy to apply in every other field of your life. And you will see the difference in the energy you have in everyday life, in the energy you have and you can invest into the relationship with your partner, with your parents, with your sons and daughters if you are a mom, in your business if you are an entrepreneur, for example. So it's very important to understand that everything, our well-being, our mood is affected by our sexuality, because our sexual energy is our life energy and it influences our hormones. And the more we use the orgasm medicine I teach, the more all the other aspects of our life, relationship, economics, business, spiritual life, everything will improve. But a change of mindset, it's not the only thing. It's not enough to really produce a change which happens in the body and which lasts in our everyday life. We don't just have to repeat mantras or change the mindset. This is not sufficient. So we have to do, as I said, a serious psychosomatic work and work deeply in the inner tissues of our yoni to expand our capacity to feel pleasure. So it's a healing that happens and widens one orgasm at a time. So here are 3 ways that I want to donate to you. So 3 practices that you can start doing just now and keep on doing for the whole week till next live, because there will be a series of lives about how to expand your pleasure and your sexual energy. Next one will be on the 22nd of May, and its title is Sexuality Starts Out of Bed. So in this week, you can start practicing these exercises that I'm gonna give you now. So maybe you want to write down what I'm telling you. So the first practice is Aphrodisiac breath of the yoni, which it's a very simple practice, very basic practice I teach inside sex coach training. And this is the simple version. Then this Aphrodisiac breath of the yoni develops in more and more complex combinations and contractions and isolation of every muscle of your yoni, till reaching really mastery in your ability to contract the muscles of the yoni for your own pleasure and for your partner's pleasure. So you can do these practices every day. 5 minutes, maybe you have a break at work, you can do every one of these practices in 5 minutes. Okay, try to do them every day, because it's like going to the gym. We have to exercise our yoni and to bring blood to our yoni area, to our genitals, to be alive again, in order to experience all the pleasure that is available to us. And this is an incredible practice, Aphrodisiac breath of the yoni, with which one of my students, just doing it repeatedly, she had an orgasm alone, without physical stimulation, just through the breathing and the contraction. So the Aphrodisiac breath of the yoni asks you to do that. You have to be sitting on a chair or on the floor. The important thing is that you have a soft pillow underneath. I recommend you to write down that. So you have a soft pillow underneath. And if you're sitting on a chair, your knees have to be in a 90 degrees angle. If you're sitting on the floor, just cross your legs in the easy position of the yoga. Your hips have to be slightly rotated backwards, so the lips of your yoni like kiss the surface on which you're sitting. And the sensation is just to have the contact between the lips of the yoni and the center of Mother Earth, into earthly grounding energies. The back is nice and tall, shoulders relaxed, the chin is slightly towards the chest, which is open and proud. And you can put your hands, this time it's very simple version, like this, with your palms facing upwards on your knees, laying on your knees. And you close your eyes and look down first to your nose with eyes closed, and then down to your pelvic floor, to your yoni. And you imagine your yoni like a rose with the lips, which are the lips of the yoni, the labia of the yoni, breathing from there. So you take a deep breath in, imagining you are suckling up the air from the lips of your yoni, and you expand your rib cage, taking in more prana, more life energy. And then you relax. Take a deep breath in from the yoni, and then relax. Try one more time. Take a deep breath in from the yoni, and relax. Once you are confident with this visualization, you can add the contractions, the squeezing of the yoni. And you, when you breathe in, you squeeze the muscles of the yoni, and you squeeze the energy, and you bring the energy upwards, your kundalini upwards. So you breathe in, squeeze the yoni, squeeze up the energy, and in breathing out, you relax the yoni and the pelvic floor. Okay, so this contraction and relaxation of the yoni, after few times, you feel your yoni lubricated and you feel the pleasure. You feel the pleasure, and it doesn't marvel me that some of my students experience orgasm just with this breathing. So you breathe in, just do it right now. Breathe in and squeeze the yoni. Breathe in, breathe in, breathe in as much as you can, and breathe out and relax the yoni. You should feel your yoni more open, more juicy, more filled with and irradiated with blood. And this is a good way also to prepare for the penetration, But maybe you don't want penetration, it's not mandatory. So sexuality, it's not doesn't have to be always penetrative, doesn't have to be necessarily penetrative. You can experience just sexuality like this, and you should feel a little bit of lubrication through this practice. So this is an amazing practice that is in my sex coach training, and that you can use in your everyday life. No one will see you because no one sees there. Second practice that you can do is the rotation of the hips to unlock the knots and the blocks of sexual energies that are stored in your hips. So I teach it like this to my students. Imagine that you have a piece of paper at the hips level, and you have a pen held by your yoni and by the lips of your yoni, and you want to draw a spiral, just moving your hips. The rest of your body, the chest doesn't move. So you move just the hips horizontally, making this spiral more and more round and bigger. You expand it more and more. Okay, and you can do both clockwise and anti-clockwise. Okay, and it's very important that you do this every day, especially if you sit a lot in front of a computer. It's fundamental. It's fundamental that you unlock your hips for the reason I told at the beginning of the live. And when you are confident enough with movement, you can add to this rotation of the hips the Aphrodisiac breath of the yoni. So when you go forward, you squeeze your yoni and you breathe in. When you go backwards, you exhale and you relax the pelvic floor. Always remember to breathe from your yoni, from the lips of your yoni. So you go in front and you suckle in the air and the energy and squeeze the yoni. And you breathe out and relax. And you do this both clockwise and anti-clockwise. And when you want to close the movement, you reduce the movement more and more, making it smaller and smaller until you feel the movement not in the outside. You're still outside, and you feel only inside the movement. And you listen to your body and to your yoni and see and perceive how this simple practice changed totally your genital consciousness. Because what we want to do is grounding and landing back into our genital consciousness. Because especially we women, we tend to forget there is something down there, but there's a lot of something, it's our inner center of knowledge, of wisdom and energy. So we really want to recuperate it, right? So do these practices many times a day for a few minutes. You don't have to do some sort of difficult performances. A few minutes in various moments of the day, it's enough, and you will feel an incredible difference and lots of benefits in sexual life and in everything. Okay. Third thing, try these things I told you: Aphrodisiac breath of the yoni and rotations with the Aphrodisiac breath of the yoni. Try them during sexual intercourse with your partner. Yeah, quite a thing for you and your partner. You will feel a huge difference. You will thank me, believe me. So these are the 3 things that you can start doing from today. But above all, these are the 3 things. But above all, I promised you a surprise. And the surprise, as I said, is yoni egg and yoni wand teacher training, which starts today. Okay. And I think you really want to join in if it's something that you want to discover for yourself or for your your students and clients, join in the training, which link I'm going to put in the chat. If you're following from Facebook or YouTube, well, if you're listening to me from Instagram, go and have a look on my page, YEWTT.com. Or maybe it's already in the link in bio, but you can write YEWTT.com and you will see this amazing training that changed the life of hundreds of women all over the world. And even the best universities of the world are interviewing me about the method that I teach in this training. It's amazing. And I think every woman should do it, first of all, for herself, but you can do it as a work in a field which is ever increasing, in a market which is ever increasing, because there is always more and more demand for sexual coaches. And I'm sure you want to be a serious one and a very, very competent and prepared one. And this is an amazing training. And the surprise is that you can apply to that now with early bird price, which is one third of the value of the effective value of the training, which is amazing. So the price is never gonna be so low. Never in life is gonna be so low. So this is the first surprise. So really, if you intend to take such a training which is unique in the whole world, go for it and join the amazing community of women that already joined sex coach training. And the second surprise is that for the first 15 women that apply to sex coach training, I will give for free the workshop, the intensive workshop, ethical marketing and business for sex coaches. So I will give you also the tools to promote yourself ethically if you want to do it as a job to help other women. So not only for yourself, but also to help all the other beautiful women that need it. So we can make all together a sexual and social revolution. Okay, so I think I said everything. So go for it, run and enroll as soon as you can, so you can have for free a workshop which is very, very valuable. Outside you would find such a workshop for 500 euros, but I'm giving it for free for the first 15 women that subscribe. And I will meet you next week with another amazing live. And I hope to see you on board, as many of you as it's possible, because I think, and I know also from the feedbacks, this training is precious, jewel. Oh, Sarah, thank you. Happy to see you here. So I hope you enjoyed this live of today. Share it with other women, because they all need to know that, women and men, so they can know the truth about orgasm, about female orgasm and the couple intimacy. I think this is fundamental. Go to have a look at sex coach training, and meet you soon. Love you. Bye bye. Bye everyone.